Hillary Clinton says that if Republicans prevail in court, she's talking about, by the way, health care. That's the new thing now, that's health care. Republicans are decimating health care again. She's saying 20 million people will lose coverage. Well, wait a minute. Let me stop for a minute. So the reason for Obamacare was 13 million people didn't have coverage. Now 23 million people don't have coverage. How did that work out, Hill? And when you look at the statistics of people that are 26 that are still on their parents' plan, why is it that at 26 and 3/4 of an age, they all do without health insurance just fine? You know, it's going to save their parents money. It's going to save a lot of other people that are paying for that extra provision by insurance companies raising rates. She also mentions limits on coverage will return. Not only is there limits on coverage now that are far worse than the limits there were during the private sector, is these limits also limit doctors and hospitals that you can go to. So it now, not only does it impact, you got a little bit of a limit, some depending on the plan you have, on your coverage, but you have limits on the availability of the quality of health care that you can get. And there are far more people today leaving hospitals with debt that have insurance than there have ever been. So, I don't know, caps on out-of-pocket expenses have never been worse. Let me ask you something. How many of you, if I could see a show of hands, that 10 years ago in your job, you went into the doctor and you paid $20? How many of you now have to pay $60? Or how many of you now have to pay hundreds of dollars? How many of you don't have that coverage at all for that first office visit? It's changed dramatically and it's gotten worse. Listen, Republicans aren't the one that put out an unconstitutional plan. That was the Democrats that did that. I know they didn't read it, or they would have known that, surely. Now, the courts are saying it is unconstitutional. And if they prevail, you know what we're going to have? We're going to have a free market system again. We might have competition because they're probably going to keep pre-existing conditions, and they're going to allow companies to cross state lines. We're going to have more people competing for the business, and that's going to be a good thing for the people and hopefully for hospitals.